Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my NBA playoff predictions. So, I did my play-in tournament predictions, and I think I was pretty good on those. But now, we're going to be going over my round-by-round, series-by-series predictions for the playoffs, now that they're all set. Starting off in the East, in the first round, we have the 1-seeded Heat against the 8-seeded Hawks. So, the Hawks were a play-in team, as all 7 and 8 seeds were. So the Hawks, they're also not your typical 8 seed. They have a great offense, and they're gonna make the games close, even though the Heat have a great defense. But that's not gonna stop me from picking the Heat. I have the Heat winning in 6 games. Next up, we have the 76ers against the Raptors. I've seen this series go back and forth. I've gone back and forth in this series. I think it'll be a great series. The 76ers, they have MVP candidate Joel Embiid and then James Harden. They did recently drop two games to the Raptors, but I still like the 76ers here in 7 games. Next, we have the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks against the Chicago Bulls. So the Bulls have struggled against good teams. At one point, they held the number 1 seed, but they fell all the way to the 6th seed because they couldn't beat other playoff caliber teams. And they're already without Lonzo Ball for the entire playoffs. I still think they're a good team, but not as good as the defending champions. Bucks advance in 6 games. Next up, we have the 2-seeded Celtics against the 7-seeded Nets. The Nets, again, they're not your typical 7 seed. They have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and potentially Ben Simmons. We don't know when he's going to come back or make his Nets debut. They could struggle because they don't have much firepower outside Kyrie and Durant. Because they usually score the majority of the team's points. I think it'll be a good series. Could definitely go either way. I'm going to take the Celtics in 7. On to the Western Conference Round 1 predictions. We have the Suns against the Pelicans. So the Pelicans started 1-12, one of the worst teams in the league, and now they're the 8th seed in the playoffs. The Suns are a great team. I think they're extremely well-rounded and have lots of depth. I'm going to go Suns in 4 with my first sweep. Next up, we have the Mavericks against the Jazz. So, I think the Mavericks could definitely get down in a 2-0 series hole if Luka Doncic doesn't play much. Because he's a big factor for this series. I think he could be the deciding factor. And so we have seen the Jazz blow leads. They've blew several leads late in the season, and they blew 2 playoff leads last year. I'm going to go the Jazz in 6 here to advance past the first round. Next up, we have the Warriors against the Nuggets. Steph Curry is returning from a foot injury. The Nuggets do not have Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray for the playoffs. I'm going to go Warriors in 6 games. I think if the Nuggets were fully healthy and had Porter and Murray, I think it would be a completely different story. But I'm going to go Warriors in 6. And the last game of the first round, we have the Grizzlies against the Timberwolves. I think it'll be a great series. Another series I have going 7 games. I think the Timberwolves are much better than a 7 seed. But I do have the Grizzlies advancing in 7 games. On to my round 2 predictions in the East. We have the Heat against the 76ers. Another great series. The Heat are not... Whenever you hear of the good teams, you don't really hear of the Heat. Although they are a very good team. They're very good defensively. And I think they're going to advance past the 76ers in 6 games. Next up, we have the Celtics against the Bucks. Another series I have going 7 games. I have the Celtics advancing. I think this will be a outstanding series. It could definitely go either way. In round 2, for the West, we have the Suns against the Jazz. I'm taking the Suns in 5 games here to advance. And the Warriors against the Grizzlies, another great series. Another series I have going 7 games. Another series I think that can go either way. I'm going the Grizzlies because they've just shown they're so good, with or without their star player in Ja Morant. And he's currently not hurt, so that's good for them. For the East, we have the Heat against the Celtics, another good series. I'm going with the 2-seeded Celtics to advance to the NBA Finals. I have the Celtics winning in 6 games. This is a battle of 2 great defensive teams. 2 teams that have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate on their team. In Marcus Smart for the Celtics and Bam Adebayo for the Heat. I have the Celtics advancing in 6. In the West, we have the Grizzlies against the Suns. another very hard series for me to pick, another one I have going 7 games. I'm going to go with the Suns advancing to their second NBA Finals in the second year in a row. So now, in the NBA Finals, we have the Suns and the Celtics. Another series I have going 7 games. I think the Suns get the win here in 7 games, and Chris Paul finally gets his first ring. So, those are my NBA playoff predictions. Let me know if you agree, disagree with any of my picks, and why. Comment who you have winning the NBA championship. So like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next video.